Hi folks. So today I want to discuss about the use API hook. It's not a hook, it's kind of a use API. It's an API, okay? It's not a hook. It's a React 19 new feature, okay? So there are two purposes of use API. First one is it is used to resolve the promises. The second one is it can be used to resolve a context, okay? So let's talk about the first one. So as you can see, this is the next application. Over here we have a server component, over here we have a child component, okay? In the server component I'm just simply rendering the child component, and this is a child component, and it is also a client component. And in this component what we are doing is that we have this promise function where we are calling the promise, then we are returning it, and then we are simply solving the promise, and then we are updating the state on the basis of it. So we have a loading state whenever it is loading, we have a data state, and we have an error state if the error or data comes. So let me just show you how it is working right now. See, that's how it shows. When we reload, it shows loading, and then yeah, boom. Okay, so in this case, as you can see, we're using states. Okay, we can also do this, the whole logic itself, using just use API. Okay, let me show you how we can do it, and the code will be very small for that, and it will be very easy to read. So let's just first get rid of all these things, this bunch of stuff, we don't want that. Okay, uh, and simply we just want to show the data. Okay, so we're gonna say const data equals to response, oops, use response. We're gonna take the response from the prop, and we're gonna take this function. We're gonna paste it here in the server component itself. Yeah, and then we're just going to take the response, oops, and we're going to pass the response. Works. Okay, simple. And we obviously have to import the use, and here also we have to use a suspense hook. Okay, now we use suspense because uh, this is used to show the fallback, or we can say the loading state. So till the component is loading, the suspense fallback will be shown. Okay, yeah, so here this is. Okay, now what we are doing is we just have a function, we are just passing the response which is not yet resolved to the child component. Okay, and in the child component we are just simply showing it. Let me just, yeah, do this. Works. Now if I reload, see, this is working literally same, no changes. Okay, how? Because this use API is used to resolve promises. It takes promise and it just resolve it. Now what happens if there is an error? Okay, let me just uh, introduce an error. Okay, yeah. So in this case, your component will break because previously you were handling errors like using state. Okay, you were updating the state, you were updating the messages. Okay, so now in this case, what you are supposed to do is that you have to add error boundaries. Okay, that's what official React documentation suggests, that you have to add error boundaries for this, and this is a very neat solution that you can use. Okay, so that's how we make an error boundary, and just like a suspense, we have a fallback in here. Okay, so you can also give some component here. If the if any error comes, then the error boundary will run. Okay, so as you can see, now we are getting the error occurred while fetching data. Okay, simple. Now you can see you have brought down the code from this complexity to just this code. It is very minimal. All you have is just a function, and you're just taking the function. You are not using any kind of async, any kind of await. Now, one thing also to keep in mind, that whenever you don't use async and await, you don't have to make a component or any kind of specific function which is specifically async, right? Using use, you can simply do it without async and await, okay, which is very neat and clean, okay. Now, just like this, the way I've displayed to you, it is recommended by the official React application. So if you open this React reference, they say that promise can be passed from server component to client component and resolved in the client component with the use API, okay. And they also say that you can resolve the promise in the server component itself with the wait and pass the required data to the client component as pros, but it blocks the whole component. So let's say you have this server, okay, and you just use await here, okay. Obviously for that you have to make it async first, which is not recommended, okay. So when you do that, it will block the component. Anything else over here will be blocked, it won't be rendered, which is a very bad practice. If you have a server side, definitely you are aiming for something which is very fast. You are making your website faster so that user does not have to wait. The SEO will be good, right? And if you are using await here, if you are adding await here, then it destroys the whole purpose. So instead of this, you can use the use hook, and also this use API needs to be used at the client side, because if you use it at the server side, it will also block. So let's say if you use something like this, right, it will also block, okay. So for that we use API. That sounds little okay. So that's why we use API, and that's also makes our code very easy to read and easy to write, okay, convenient. Now why do we even use it in the use context? So the main point is that when you resolve this context using use context API, what happens is that it is not flexible. Basically, you cannot do it inside any if block, and you also have to do it in the top of the component, okay, and then you will be able to use it. But using use API, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm repeating hook again and again. When you're using use API, okay, you just have to wrap the context like this, and it will be like context, uh, let's say monkey context, okay, it's the name of the context, okay. So monkey context, that's what you can say instead of use context, okay. And you can also use it inside if else loops, anything else, okay. So this is very flexible. So these are the main two usages of use API. Now I have tried it multiple times using different things. This is still a kind of experimental in client side changes, okay. You can use the this use API in server side component, which is very good, since you cannot use states in the server side. So you can use this use API in the server side components to resolve any kind of promises. But this is still a experimental change. If anything adds up and if anything improves in the future, we will definitely be talking about it, okay. But as of now, this is the usage, and yes, we can use it very well, and yeah, this is a very good change.